Hi there, it's me, Jordan Van Haslo. Welcome to Jordan Van Haslo and Friends live on Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas. Let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Showtime with Jordan Van Haslo and Friends right here on Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas. I'm so excited to have a conversation with our newest friend today, Roslyn Kind. She has not been idle since the pandemic. She's produced and released songs such as Save the Country and Light of Love. And now, right before Valentine's Day, she realized her dream of combining two hits, Look of Love, love that song, and The Island, which resulted in a medley that celebrates love in all of its forms while reinforcing the belief that love can be found at any age. And she also created a very special 6-minute video short in which she stars and also is the first-time producer of. So I can't wait to talk about all of this and just learn about your journey and get very, very well acquainted. Welcome, 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 Roslyn Kind.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I haven't been to Vegas in a while.
You should come. You should come. We'll do coffee.
Okay. Which Starbucks?
Right. So let's talk about, so this is a brand new project. So let's just start there, and then we're going to go back and we're going to learn about all your lifelong secrets. But this new project, tell me, how did this come along?
This came along because I love, these are two of my favorite songs from way back when. And I used to do the Look of Love when I first started. I mean, when they were writing about me, she's so young, what does she know about love? And my answer was, I may be a baby, but I still understand love. I watch movies. I love my family. I have friends that I love. I know what love is. And I know what the look of love is because I was a wise child, obviously. But, so way back when, and then The Island came into my show later years, but I did them separately and on their own apart. And one day when I was getting together with my musical director and putting a show together, we were going out on the road again. I said to myself, I wonder how these two songs would meld together. Because I love to sing story songs. I love to take a journey.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot with things. I also recently did a Jerry Herman medley, which was It Only Takes a Moment and To Kiss Her Now. And that's awesome.
Oh.
But that one I didn't star in. That's why everybody said you need to be in your own videos. I was using stock footage to fit the story, and that's fine too. But this is
why didn't you ever start? Why was there a specific reain why you never did that?
I probably thought I wouldn't look good. I'm getting up in years, and which is, and I don't know. I just didn't have the wherewithal to do it. And then this time around, everybody's after me because the last one, I just put in still shots of me within the video. And so this one, I said, if I get the chance to do this, I would really like to do this one with me in it.
Yeah.
It was a live production, and it was first decided upon, let me go back to where, so it worked so well, they're putting the songs together. So it worked so well that I first did it with just piano when I worked with piano and trio, but I needed to have it fully orchestrated. And when that happened via my record producer, Stefan Oberhoff, brilliant. I said, now during COVID, I said, I have to really do this one and I have to be in it because everybody's telling me I have to be in it. So a year ago, December, I was having dinner with some friends, and one mutual friend we'd introduced because I met Mo. She was an executive secretary for my sister when we were all on tour, and but she now is directing, producing, and writing. And my friend Nicole, our mutual friend Nicole, suggested at this dinner, she said, Mo, Roz wants to do a video. And she was just working on another video, which turned out to be Malik Hanna's video, who's my producer. I brought in his producer to produce with me on Look of Love, The Island. So we became like a little family. But So that started at like Christmas around, gosh, it was in December of a year ago. And then Monique and I didn't get together to start talking about it until March 9th. So it's soon a 1-year benchmark here when we first got together to discuss the project and what I wanted to do and my idea. And so it's been a labor of love since that time. And she brought Malik in because she had just worked with him on his video and thought he would be a great addition for this process. And then we went about, casting and location finding. They already had this wonderful cinematographer, our DP, Justin Nodal, that they worked with. And he's brilliant. He did some fabulous shots, some fabulous work on this. And it all just slowly, it took a while because we all had our separate schedules, it was like, oh my God, I have to do this. But so-and-so's working on this. He's not available. This one's this, I was this. And, anyway, so it was like, so we got it all together and then we cast it. And Mo and Malik did the massive casting, and then they brought the finalists to me. And I picked from those and to play the younger me and the younger love interest.
I love that. What was that like? Sitting there in your
it was very
chair,
interesting. The first I didn't
next.
It was almost instantaneous. Once I met these few people, I knew right away that was it. When you come that certain someone, I knew when I met Buzz Lear. I told him, you know what, you look a lot like Ralph Waite from the Waltons. But he did, and it's like a charming look, it's like a little rugged look and everything. And he was so easygoing and was acting all the time. And just, I think it was Halloween of last year that we first met with him, because he was going off to see his grandchildren, to take them trick-or-treating. And I like that too. See, I like that element in a person, because I like real people who come from their hearts and their love and their light. And we took a picture that day, and it was like, that was it. I just felt we could have something, because he had these incredible blue eyes that I knew I could get lost in, and that would only help the scene.
Absolutely.
And then Jules was a friend of Malik's, and she's basically a dancer choreographer. She didn't do much acting, but she looked the most like me. And even though I was like chubbier when I was a kid and all this kind of stuff, still nobody has
to Hollywood magic.
Have to live with that. But because it's based on me, but it's not based on me. It's a character in a movie, really.
Right.
So you just wanted somebody to kind of represent you, and everybody say, oh my God, this is great casting. And then the young boy, the young lover, was the last boy we found. It was the last one. We met with so many, and then he was the last one that came in, and we had to wait because he was working in a dermatology office. He's studying dermatology. So right away, he was it. We got so lucky with everybody that worked with us. Our crew, our cast, all coming from their hearts with love, light, and wanting to get involved in the process to make this wonderful.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It was nobody with narcissism, nobody thinking they're better than the next one, And I got very lucky because my friend Tracy Tom just agreed to do a little cameo there, a little,
Yay.
So that was wonderful. And I had a couple of friends, guys in the back, Cortez Alexander and Lloyd Gordon, who I was in a show with many years ago. So we had, some friends involved too. And it was just, we had 4 days of shooting. We had the hardest time finding locations. That took the longest.
Yeah.
But when we did.
Simply because there was no place that really like mirrored what you saw in your head?
I knew I needed to have a French bistro.
Got it.
I knew I needed the bistro where we discover each other.
Got it.
So that was the offshoot of all the other stuff. Then we go back in time, and we were lucky to get my nephew Jason's friend's house for that. And then and we had the beach, and we had the kids on El Matador Beach with the rocks because it looked like an island.
Yeah.
And then the nighttime shots, we have them a little bit on there, and then where I'm doing my singing is Broad Beach at sunset, at sundown.
Oh, lovely.
So
Love.
we shot, it took over a period of time. We shot in 4 days before Thanksgiving, and then the early December.
Okay.
And then,
It's always so scary when you like have to break up filming like that. You're like,
yeah.
please don't let this person's hair grow too long. Please don't.
Well, it wasn't that long. When you started filming, it was really a matter of weeks in between, or days, because the 2 day shoot here, a thing here, this one's not available, he's got a show, because when we started, the strike was still on.
Right.
And I
Right.
was like saying, oh my God, now that the strike's over, will everybody be available? That was scary.
Totally. So as a first-time producer, did you find it shocking just how long it takes to pull a project together? Because you talk about like everyone's schedules have to mesh, and you think about like with a feature film, it's like you have to get 100 people together. But even just a smaller project like a video, like you have all of these different components that have to come together in order for everything to work.
Exactly. And I realized, I think we really lucked out considering the timetable and the people we found to be involved. I would call this, I would do it again in a minute.
Yeah.
If I could raise money for a project, because this one was on me. Because this one is my re-entrance onto the scene. I've been off the scene. I haven't been doing live. And I needed something to come back with.
Yeah.
Because I'm very kind of political, and I see where our country is going. And I did save the country a while back and got threats for it.
Oh, wow.
But every time I perform, that's always in my head, because I want to make the world a better place. That's what we're here for. It's what I'm here for. I found that out in the 1984 past life regression, when I was doing some soul searching. Why am I here? What is my purpose? This is going wrong. My career's up, the career's down. I'm going sideways. I was married. I'm separated now. I was going through a lot of emotional stuff and I was already into the metaphysics.
Okay. So it wasn't like something far off for you.
Because when I was on tour before this, I was reading books and I was into it. I could sit up till 5 o'clock in the morning with friends discussing psychic phenomena. And I was meditating very heavily, and I had a few out-of-body experiences. And I even climbed Bell Rock in 1987 for the harmonic convergence. And that's really, it just set my path with a different intention. It was no longer just show business, going out there and making a mark and making a name and making money. Yes, you need money because you need to live. I'm not going to deny that.
And produce videos.
Yeah, right. But it's the reason that I was gifted with these chords. There's a reason that God bestowed that gift on me, and the gift to connect with people. And it was for me to use to heal, to help bring hearts together, to get rid of the hatred, to realize everybody, stop being afraid of what's different than you. Embrace it, learn about it, bring it into your life. Everybody contributes to each and every other life if you open your heart. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just open your heart. We're all the same. We have the same blood. We come from the same place, universe, light, God. I believe in God. I've always been very spiritual. Yeah. I thank him when I find a parking spot.
But that's what your voice is. That's a lot of responsibility to put on two little vocal cords.
Yeah, well, a couple of more than two, but but the bottom line is that it's really this world, and it's gotten worse. I can't believe where we're at today. I really can't.
It's really shocking. Well, I remember thinking just like a few years ago, like maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I remember thinking, do you remember the show Scandal?
Kind of.
It was with the Kerry Washington. It was about,
Oh yeah.
her. She was the publicist for
Right.
the president. It was, big soapy Shonda Rhimes
Right.
drama.
Yes.
And as things started unfolding in real life, I kept saying, if this happened on Scandal, everyone would say this is the most unrealistic storyline in the entire world. But it's like we're seeing it
Right.
happen in
I
real
mean,
time.
who could have believed we would come to this place in time, our America, our
Yeah,
democracy, hanging in the balance of lies and that people can feel good about themselves lying and wanting to follow, pardon me, an antichrist.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
those who have made it a religious thing, and he's not religious at all, and he doesn't even know the words to the Star Spangled Banner. I'll never remember when he was still president, and there was some kind of an event, and he's been. He doesn't know about this country. He doesn't read. He doesn't speak. He can't finish a sentence. All he knows is how to call people names.
yeah,
Child
yeah.
in a sandbox. And to me, this is not presidential material.
No.
Not a
Well,
person wanting to help the country. He wants to divide and conquer
yeah.
and be a dictator, and you should kiss his ring. That's why he loves all the dictators in the world. But that's not who America is.
Hmm.
And we
So,
cannot allow this to happen. And he's, all these people that have bought into him. Why? Because maybe they think they see themselves in him. I always want somebody that's better than me, that knows
yeah,
more than me, somebody that has integrity and compassion and knowledge and experience to be my president.
yeah.
It doesn't
I
matter
don't know.
if they know what they're doing.
Right.
You know?
I don't know. I think part of the reason we're at this place, I mean, I think that there's always been the type of people who are like diehard fans of his. I think that those people have always been there. I think a couple of things have happened. One, with the advent of technology and social
Yeah.
media, now all of those voices are able to be amplified in a way that they never
Right,
have
but somebody opened Pandora's box, as you said, that existed, but it was under a rock. I remember when David Duke ran for president.
before.
What part of
Honestly,
that country?
can I tell you, I think what started it, honestly, I think that it was Obama becoming president. I
Well,
think
where
that
does that start from? What part of the population?
totally, well, racist.
I
But I
mean,
think what happened, I think if you really think about it, right, we were up until Obama, we had kind of, post the civil rights movement, we had kind of made this kind of social contract to like,
right.
we're going to tolerate each other. Even if I don't like you, I'm not going to be uncivil to you. I'm just going to, we have to sit next to each other on the subway going to work. So we're going to tolerate each other. But if you notice, when Obama got into office, that's when the
Yeah.
Tea Party began. And the Tea
Yes.
Party is the beginning of,
Right.
the MAGA folks, right? And all of a sudden, the guy was in the office for like 8 weeks, and it's like, I want my country back,
Yeah.
And I think that bubbled up, bubbled up, bubbled up. And then at the end of his term, if you recall, everyone was assuming that the next president was going to either be Hillary Clinton or Barry Sanders. And I think you had this segment of the population who were already riled up, said, oh my God, wait, we just had 8 years of our first Black president. Now our next president's going to either be a woman or a Jew.
Which should have
I
been.
want my country
Well,
Black.
but the thing is,
Correct.
it should have been the woman. It should have been.
Oh, it totally should have been
But
Hillary.
and I can't understand why everybody hated her, except that the Republicans for years went after her and Bill.
Yeah.
They go after, they don't go after the issues. They go after personal stuff. And he was guilty a lot less of than what this guy is guilty of.
Yeah, totally. I think the thing is,
as far as I'm concerned, what goes on in your bedroom is your business. It's not affecting your job with my country.
totally. I think
it's a whole other story.
I think part of the problem though is, and I thought about this in a conversation I had the other day. I think most people aren't informed. I think most people don't follow politics. I think most people, I'll give you two examples. I think most people, they just follow the politics of their parents and their community.
Right.
I will never forget in the first, so I'm like a closet Real Housewives fan. And in the first season of the Housewives of Orange County, there was this character character, this woman, and she and her fiance, a very wealthy guy, they were going to a Republican fundraiser. And she was talking to the camera and she says, yes, I'm a Republican. I don't really know what that means, but my father's a Republican, my grandparents are Republican, and I think that that's the majority of folks.
Yeah, so we also went to school to learn. I mean, the head of people don't know what civics is. They don't know government at all. I learned that in public school in 8th grade.
I always wonder that too. Like, did no one pay attention in social studies class when you were in school?
I even don't know.
I even personally think that there should be like a test to run for office.
Oh, definitely.
Doesn't have to be crazy.
The same way. Not, definitely there should be a mental test.
Totally. But even just like,
and there should be a knowledge test and the physical. But as if you remember, he took his physical test and lied about it and had the record stolen from that Fakakta doctor's office. It looked like a Meshuggah cup anyway. Was that a real
totally? But I don't even think it needs to be I don't even think it needs to be a deep test. Like, I think it just sort of like when you take your driver's test.
Yeah,
you have to read the rules. Just, hey, this is how a bill becomes a law, A, B, or C.
Right.
What are the 3 branches of just those basic things? I think a lot of people don't understand.
And then you have the news stations that are giving them total lies.
Yeah.
They're giving them what they call alternative facts. Well, you know what? There's no alternative fact. A fact is a fact. There's no
absolutely
fact that's alternative.
I always wonder what Ted Turner thinks of, having created CNN back in the 80s. I was in the first cable news network. I always wonder now if he looks and says, oh my goodness, what was this monster I unleashed?
I remember the days when I was growing up and we had Walter Cronkite and Huntley Brinkley. We really did. He just reported the news. Now you have everybody with opinions, but some of them are good opinions. And some of the networks, and one in particular that I'm drawn to because I think they are the truthful, because they show both sides and why they are, which is MSNBC.
Right.
I mean, that's to me, they're great.
Yeah.
And I do believe that they show both sides. Now they're not, thank God they're not playing, what's his name's, rallies. I couldn't stand watching them anymore.
Yeah.
What a headache. But the bottom line is they are truthful, talking both sides.
Speaking of, you're talking about like the good old days of just the news, I was having this conversation with somebody as well. Like, I don't remember the news, like when I was growing up, being nothing but politics. Because like that's all the news is right now. Like they don't really talk about anything except for politics. And I think that that's part of the issue as well. Now it's just like it's like a football game. You know what I mean? Or a baseball game. You're Yankees.
They made it more of a game, and it's more serious than that. It's not a joke. It's not a television show. It is serious business.
Yeah.
Helping, the world and helping the country and sustaining where we're at, being a good nation. I'm just so flawed that this could have happened. That it's mind-boggling to me. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And I see when some people, his followers, are interviewed, I can't believe some of the answers.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And some of the kids in college who don't even know, if you ask them what the president's name is, half of them don't know.
Yeah, it's nuts. And we could talk about this all afternoon.
I never really got involved in politics until that certain party came down an escalator. And I knew we were in trouble.
Yeah, yeah.
It was never active. Never.
Yeah.
So
let's go back. So you weren't active in politics, but let's talk about just kind of how your career began. I love that you talked about you love story songs, as do I. I came up in the New York cabaret scene, so I'm all about a good story song. How did your career begin?
Oh my God. I out of high school. Well, first of all, while I was in high school, I was auditioning and I got my RCA contract.
Okay, there you go.
I was making demonstration records in the afternoons after school for my sister's publishing firm. For those people who may not know what that is they receive a piece of music that they decide they're going to publish, and a performer goes in a studio and records the song, which gets sent to other performers, other singers, to see if they would like to do the song. So that's what I did after school in like junior high.
I love that. Yeah.
My sister cut one of them from getting my act, putting my act together and taking it on the road. I did some stuff from there.
So what did you do on your first recording with RCA?
Well, the day of my actually, I was signed by a gentleman named Harry Jenkins, who also signed Elvis Presley to the label.
Ah, good company.
Interesting, right? And my first day of recording was right after my graduation, pomp and circumstance at 9 a.m. and RCA Studio B at 12 noon.
That's so fun. That's wonderful. Well, what was it like? We recently just interviewed our friend Janine Fatone, who is the sister of Joey Fatone of NSYNC fame. And we were talking about just what it's like to, because she's also a performer, and what it's like to navigate your career, and then with a sibling whose career has like exploded in like such a spectacular way. And she talked about it from the perspective of the older sibling, where she was like, well, when that started to happen, she was like, I was green as she can be. I can't believe it. But then, you know, she grew out of it.
She was green?
Green with envy. Like,
oh, well, I wasn't green with envy. Matter of fact, I went through years where I was so shy. I had relatives saying, you'll never go into the business. As much as I had a voice, you'll never go into the business. I used to sing in the mirror and, you know, act things out. Shows that I had been to once I became familiar with theater. And I would do all the parts, male and female, even the duets, you know. But it all started when I was a little kid singing Davy, Davy Crockett came to the wild frontier in front of the television, you know. And I sang songs from Hebrew school and songs from my school, you know. And then you become knowledgeable. And as you grow up, older, you're listening to, you know, the top 25, top 100 every afternoon. You have your transistor radio in your ear. And so my era was like the early 60s, late, you know, early 50s, but I got the appreciation for people like Lena Horne and Johnny Mathis, because my sister used to listen to them. I loved them as I got older. But my generation was the British Invasion and Motown. And I was a Beatlemaniac. I was a total Beatle. My George was I stood on a chair, I pulled my hair, I mean the whole thing. And it's so funny because I noticed that the day they played Ed Sullivan in 1968, was it? Or 1960? I played in 1964. I played the same day in 1969.
Oh, really?
5 years later. I just found that out.
That's wonderful. I love how they're starting to release a lot of those. I don't know if you saw, like, there's an Ed Sullivan official YouTube channel now, and so they've been releasing.
They released it. I didn't release it.
Yeah, I love. But it's like so great to see, and like they're also like releasing the audio for them, the old audio. So it's been really awesome to like listen to and see a lot of those really amazing performers. But like, so as you're navigating your career, did you find, and so for anyone in the audience who doesn't know, Roslyn Kind is the younger sister of Barbra Streisand. So I'm just curious, like, as you're starting your career, you have your first record contract, was there like a conscious effort to kind of separate yourself from that?
Yeah, no, I totally went after songs from more so my era.
Got it.
You know, except for some medleys I did. I think the oldest song that I did was Sunday Kind of Love from the 40s, where I got on it. That was my token. And I did When I Fall in Love, because that was proper for my age.
Right.
That was all generated from, you know, like Hair and Promises, and the Beatles, and I did medleys, and, you know, it was all younger material.
Yeah, less of the like Great American Songbook stuff and more
I
like
did not get
stuff that was hip.
So it's so funny because when people say my sister must have taught me everything I know, well, we harmonized when I was a kid, but no, because she was totally in the other era, and later on
Mhm.
she came a little more into the pop stuff that she did, with her albums. But that was my era.
Yeah.
So I stayed with my era until I got even older, and then even my conversation with her is, why shouldn't I be able to do songs that she's even done? People say, I remember playing the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and somebody wrote, how dare she do her sister's song? What was my sister's song? It was The Summer of 42. You know how many artists recorded
It's
the song?
it's
But
like
for me, what
it's a
I
Michelle
was hearing
Legrand
was
song.
my
Like,
sister's song. No, I'm it's like it's so ridiculous, I think people have come around more because as I've gone on, they realize I am different. I am my own person. I am my own performer. And I am because although the similarities from have familial genes, genes,
mhm.
then we are both different people and we perform differently.
Yeah. How would you describe if someone were to if you were to describe like, okay, you have to go to a Roslyn Kind show. How would you describe your act? How would you describe the energy that you share with the audience?
Well, it comes from my heart. Every time I go on stage, before I step out there, I ask God to please let me be a vessel for him, for his message of love and light. So I go out intending that people who are in need of hearing a message to uplift their hearts will tune in and get the message. And that's how I even pick my material, even if it's popular songs or whatever. I aim for the storyline in my head that is a healing situation.
Yeah. I love that.
And I look
Did you
into their eyes. I love to look into their eyes, whoever I can see. I love to. There was one time at the Rose Tattoo in Los Angeles. I was in the middle of a verse of a ballad, and then right in the middle, I'm hearing somebody talking about Chin Chin Chinese restaurant over here, and I got out of it. I said, "Yeah, Chin Chin's great," and then I went totally back into the song with like no break. They don't think you pick up. I pick up.
Totally. What's your favorite type of venue to perform in? Do you prefer to perform in more like intimate spaces, or because I know you've also toured and you've done huge like
Yeah,
arenas?
with my sister, I did 20,000 seaters, which to
Isn't
me
that
is
that's
phenomenal. I
like a
don't know.
small town, right?
I myself am not in that place to command that kind of a thing at the moment. I don't know if I ever will, but you know what? That's okay. I just want to touch whoever's life I can come in contact with that I'm positive in some way in their life to help them, their hearts. It doesn't
Totally.
have to be a name. It just has to be the message.
Absolutely. Well, in that type of large environment, do you
Yeah.
find it harder to connect because it's just this sea of
No,
a blob,
no.
or versus like
No,
having
because
someone?
a good performer is aware of that, takes it all in, and if done correctly, if your heart is there, you still, no matter how big the venue, each person needs to feel like they're being sung to individually.
Yeah.
You
Do you
have to
have
make it feel like it's the little what.
a
Bring them in.
Totally. Do you have like a favorite song? Like, is there a song that is like always in your act, no matter
Well,
where you
for the longest time I did Meadowlark from The Baker's Wife, but I associated it to my grandmother.
uh,
I took it out of total context of the show and related it to me. So that's how I sang it. That was that intention.
yeah,
And that was a showstopper. That was an 11 o'clock song. The latest 11 o'clock song for me was It Only Takes a Moment to Kiss Her Now, where people
yeah,
stood up and, you know, and stopped it. I love doing things like that. I mean, but I also love the fun songs. I love doing the up tempos, Chicago, all that jazz. And I mean, I like doing comedy. I think you can go into every realm and still have a healing message. I sang a song about my dog, and the people that came up to me because they just had to put their dog down crying, or my God, I love that song. I felt, I have a dog and blah, blah, blah. And it's relating to people in your life experience. You use that also in your performance, because I call on that when I need to get into a certain mood. you know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but I also I'm very into my audience. I'm somewhat empathic, so I get drawn to somebody who really needs the message or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
very open. I even with fans, I may talk to them in the audience. You know, they're great fans and stuff, and I make a thing with them. So I just I'm like that. I share everything. I have no problem talking about my director, my other producer, everybody, because like no man is an island, and I don't believe I'm an island. I'm coming from above with my
mm,
heart and my light, and I would love all the angels of light to come gather around and help us all get rid of the darkness that exists in the world today.
totally. And it's all life, and even putting together a video, it's a collaborative effort, right? Like everybody,
Exactly.
their talent, their skills, their
Mhm.
gifts that are unique to them, and together, it's magic.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Are there any plans to go back on the road or to do any shows? You said it,
I
how long has it been since you last performed live?
um just before COVID lockdown.
Okay, so we're talking like 4 years ago. Yeah.
What I did during COVID was I had some things that were already recorded in the can, and that we did the videos via Zoom.
Okay.
Like that, and I stayed away. It's very frightening to go out there because I got it once, and I got it, and for the longest time I didn't get it at all. And then I got hit with it, and it's, oh my God, the glass in your throat when you're swallowing, and I was so worried it
Oh,
was going to affect my vocal cords, you know.
yeah.
So it's scary, and I still try to protect myself as much as possible because it's still out there, and there are people that don't care,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I've got to care. So
Yeah.
it was hard, but I do, for the longest time I've been wanting to one day, and this is not my ego. Okay, let me get this straight, right? The years ago when I was at the Hilton Hotel in Las Vegas, and I was in the lounge, I was with a couple of different acts because we used to trade. We were there for a month at a time, so every 2 weeks another act changed.
Got it.
And when I first came in, Elvis was in the middle. He was starring in the main show. I never ran into him, but everybody said if you run into him and you like his ring, he'll take it off and give it to you. It's like, my wife, I don't know, but but I some of the musicians that played for him also played my show,
Mhm.
and I would say to him, "What is it that's so great about working with Elvis?" Because they adored working with him, and they said because everything was a happening, no matter where, what, and when, and how, it was a happening. And I thought to myself, what an incredible feeling that is. I mean, and I started to think about what would I want to do with the gift I've been giving and the job I've been given from above. And that is, one day I would love to maybe, like, just picture like around a mountain, you're singing and people are coming, not because of me, but because of the message,
Uh-huh.
So that's always stayed with me. And so I do have, to begin that feeling, I would love to put, and this has been in my brain for a while, a bigger show together that's about kindness and bringing hearts together, because a lot of my material is about that too.
Hmm.
In a bigger performance piece.
Yeah. So like when you say bigger, meaning like an orchestra, are you talking about like a
Yeah,
production show?
orchestra, a bigger venue, like a bigger
Right.
show. I mean, it can probably, when you're working it out, you can start in a small venue. And I've done some of those songs already, but I want to get some new ones in there too. But basically around bringing people's hearts to where they need to be so that we
Yeah.
can have a good world. Everybody, I think that sometimes I think, why is there wealth and poverty? Why don't we all barter so that nobody feels better than the next person? Because everybody is gifted. Everybody has a talent. Everybody is unique, and everybody needs to be appreciated.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you
that's
that's where you get your equality.
absolutely.
Understand your differences and embrace your similarities. It's just opening your heart and not going on fear, which is what is being stoked every
Yeah.
day. This fear.
Have you always kind of approached the world that way? Like I know in 1984, 1985, you did a lot of soul searching, but just even going back to when you were a little girl, were you very much like an empath and like the kid who's like, oh my God, there's a bird that's sick. We need to bring the bird home and nurse it back to it. Like, were you that type of a person?
No, when I was in my youth, I didn't really know my value or why. I was very spiritual.
Mhm.
I was also, I was very shy and I was overweight. So I got called fatso and everything else, how kids can be. And so I think that even made me more shy. So
Right.
when I came out of that and lost weight and went into the business, and I even worked as a purchasing agent for a movie studio for a while. And when I sang at their Christmas show, they say, "Get the heck out of here. You don't belong here. You belong in another career." It's like so funny. They actually kicked me out. You don't belong here. Um, I, I, it wasn't really, and all of that time, I'm listening to this stuff, and there are different people in your life. I had management that didn't really turn out to be beneficial for me in the right way. I had a lot of the wrong people involved in my career.
Yeah.
I think now I have so many more people of light coming into my life.
Yeah.
People I really want, the people I want to work with, that make it lovely to work together.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that's really tough early in your career, right?
yeah.
Because you need like, oh my God, finally a manager wants to work with me. Oh my goodness, this music director wants to work with me. Like it's tough.
Yeah, and you have to figure out where your lines are. Well, for what reason are they there? Especially in
Mm,
my case, because like you were talking about being related to an icon, a legend. Now the SAG Award with the living, and she is, and I'm very proud of her. I am very proud of my sister. I love her, and I'm very proud of her. And I was the first president of her fan club way back when.
way back when. So you just brought up something like figuring out why people are in your life.
Mhm.
Um, does like is that something like at a very young age, like even just like with your social peers, you kind of started to have
Yeah,
to
you
kind of navigate,
kind of
like in school,
question.
like, hold on, why are you inviting me to this lunch
Because
table?
it's like when I was in grade school, was my sister started to make it. It was like, oh, Rosyln went to something special last night. Maybe she'll tell us about it. We made a thing out of it. And then when I was in high school, there were kids that wanted to know me because of it, and kids that
Hmm.
systematically disliked me because of it. Not that I went around talking about
Right.
it,
That's so interesting.
and I went to private
It's like being Hillary Clinton.
right. I went to private school for 1 year when we first moved to Manhattan, that my sister sent me to, because my mother was afraid of the public school. She didn't know we came from Brooklyn. It was more neighborhoody.
Yeah.
And I got called to the principal's office, the guy that ran the place. I mean, it was very progressive school. You called your teacher by your first name. I was unaccustomed to this. I met a kid where I had a break, and he had a break. It was in 8th grade. He was, I think he was in 8th grade. And he said to me that he was convinced he's mentally unbalanced. I said, what? I'm telling you, this exists.
Well, hey, it's good to be
The rich
self-aware.
family, they're maybe not with their kids, and the kids are going to psychiatrists in my life. Anyway, the principal calls me down. I wasn't able to go on a school trip because I had a little minor surgery when I was 14. So I was in school on time, but I couldn't do the trip with them. I had to be home to get treated.
Right.
So I didn't get in with them right away. And so my sister was taping a special, and I just put out an invitation, would you like to go? I would like, I can invite whatever. I didn't do it with any hierarchy or feeling superior. I just wanted to try to be friends. And he called me down to say, why did I do that? First of all, he said to me, why are you fat? Is what he said to me the first time. And I said, why am I fat? I said, I like to eat. I had a mother who was a nosher, my father who liked to eat regular meals, and I got the best of both, you know. And I just, you know, he was trying to psychoanalyze me. And then I thought about this kid that was at the break with me. I said, who are these people? I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Following year, I was at Julia Richmond High in the country school, making the grades I always made, you know, feeling it's, and then going to dance class afterwards and with Luigi, got my Luigi hand still. Thought I should be a dancer, you know, it's just, I probably was always more for the arts, even though at one point I thought in 8th grade I would be a math teacher. That really wasn't what I was meant to be. It's good at keeping my records. That's what it's good at.
There you go. There you go.
Ledger, you know?
Yeah.
It always comes in handy.
It just goes to show you though how not every like you really need to be in the right environment to thrive and be around the right people. And not even necessarily like-minded, right? Because we grow when we have people who aren't like-minded, but like in that environment that like you fit in and you're like, yeah, I can dig these people.
And when I came out in the business and I did a Charles Aznavour special in 1969 in Cannes, I did La Grande Affiche in Paris. I was in Germany. I did the Goldene Schuss. But the Olympia, when I was in, wanted to bring me in Paris. And I turned it down because they weren't booking Roslyn Kind. I wasn't ready for that, the Olympia. I was just ready to go. And I'm realistic.
Right.
You know, and I'm not looking to make it on my sister's coattails or anybody's coattails. I had to on my own. Nor would I sleep my way to the top. I would not do that either. If that was the case, I wouldn't be in this business if that was it.
Be teaching math somewhere. Yes, PS6.
Yeah. PS 89 is where I went. PS 269, Rompan before, you know, and then Erasmus a year, and then the private school, and then Julia Richmond.
Did you like
show business?
Did you like when you said so? You were a little older in your childhood when you moved from Brooklyn to Manhattan. Was that something that was exciting for you to like be in the city?
Or were you like, I was 14 years old, and it was there in Manhattan that an aunt took me to a diet doctor, and I lost 60 pounds in 4 months.
Oh wow!
You know. And I started to feel better about me, you know. I went through, you go through a lot of ups and downs. And when you're young, when you're heavy or something's wrong, kids can really be mean. You know, I'm very sensitive to that.
Well, kids can be mean about anything. If you're skinny, kids will be mean, you know, be mean about that. If you like kids are just kind of nasty people.
Gosh. But yeah, I mean, it was a life of up and down and people that were, I didn't realize I was a kid, so they turned out to be wrong for me. They shouldn't have been my manager. They shouldn't have been this, you know, and I found out so early in life, I got a lot of lessons about people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it made me wiser earlier.
Totally. So at what point, career-wise, did you realize, okay, I'm surrounded by the wrong people. You gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. I'm cleaning house and starting fresh. At what point in your career was that? And like, what was the catalyst?
The first time was 1978 when I bumped my manager. And then again, a few years later, because sometimes people still come in your life and you know, you think it's okay. And then you realize down the road, it's not right.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's the back of what their agenda is, because they present a really wonderful face with a good story, you know. And now I'm very skeptical.
Yeah.
And to me, if they're not coming from their heart and their light, forget them.
Yeah. So how do you
allow it in anymore?
How do you qualify for that? Like, how do you, like, what type of a filter do you have that makes you say like, yeah, you're not the one, or oh my goodness, yes.
I can tell lately when people are coming from the light.
Yeah.
The empathy. I mean, I can tell.
Yeah.
You know, I'm much better at it. I maybe I shouldn't brag like on that, because sometimes you can backstep and be fooled, but sooner or later they give way and you realize, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to have antennae, you know. Um, when it's good, it's good. And everybody that seems to be in my life today,
Are
they're
good.
great to have there.
That's good. So aside from this large hopeful concert that you're envisioning on top of a mountain.
What else am I doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What do you have planned? What's next?
Okay, so right now, Malik and I are in the studio learning a new song that was written for us, also with my message, called Together We Will Win.
Okay.
And his friend, Jeff Stopler, started writing it for us. And then I got my record producer, Stefan Oberhoff, involved. And we're honing it now. That's going to be a duet.
Okay, wonderful.
And then we also are talking with our friends who I met through Malik, Paulina and Pablo Aguirre, who are Latin Grammy winners. And they want to work with us on something. And I said to Malik, I said, as long as we have Latin Grammy winners for friends and we're going to work with them, why don't we do something in Spanish?
Yeah.
So that's on the burner too, because they also want to work on an original song as well. And then there are some TV things that are in the offing that are being pitched, or are being ready to be pitched, that because we're doing so many projects, and all of my friends that are coming from this light, we're all getting together and kind of wanting to be there for each other like a family. Yeah. With the projects to bring us all in.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of happened since COVID. Like I've noticed that just with my circle, like all of a sudden people are more collaborative and like, hey, we've always talked about this, let's just do this, you know?
Right. And there's another group, the World's First Cinema, who got their own following, and then they were signed by a label who my friend Sargon is working with, and he did their video, which won the Rome Film Festival. They're writing a song for me too.
Oh, wow.
And I'm hearing from a lot of people, yet to get away from all the other stuff that you're doing, you need to be modernized, you know, you need to get, so, you know.
Look, as long as you're
happy.
learning
and stretching experience for me still, you know, there's always something to learn, something to do, something to grow. And I just, you know, I'm a humble human being. I know that I'm just a speck of sand on this earth, but I just hope and pray that I learn every day. I don't become bitter. My lessons, I hopefully have made me a better person, and I should continue to happen, and that I can share goodness and share bringing people's hearts together in this world before I leave it. Why wait? Why wait till you pass on? Why can't we have heaven here?
I think that that's wonderful, and I think that that's a wonderful way to end our conversation. I could keep talking to you forever, but we have sponsors, and so we're going to have to throw to them. But it's been so wonderful. Tell us, where can we find you online? How do we keep up so we can know what to do?
I have the website, www. I don't think we need the W's in, but it's just Roslyn, 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 KIND at .com. I'm gonna get my email address. And then I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok. That's all. I believe you, between you and I can't handle any of it. Somebody do it. I am so bad at it. I'm of my own generation, and I don't have the patience or the wherewithal. What takes me a day to do takes somebody else, a young person, 2 seconds.
Totally. But you know what it is? What makes it difficult is that literally you're sort of like putting together your 6-minute video. You're like literally creating mini productions on the regular basis. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Oh my God.
Well, we will definitely be checking you out on the TikTok. And thank you so much for joining me today. It was such a pleasure to get to know you.
It was a pleasure talking with you.
It absolutely was the same here. So I hope to chat with you again very, very soon. And thank you all. Absolutely. And thank you all out there in Radio Land for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week for another episode of Showtime with Jordan Van Hassel and Friends, right here on Hot 702.5 FM, Las Vegas. And don't forget, you can download the Hot 702.5 FM app and listen to the show in real time. And please check out hot702.5fm.com.